It is very sad looking at the unconscious people running on the treadmill believing they will get somewhere, they will get something, or they will escape the perception of themselves. It is the same when I look at the spiritual people, chasing the hope that one day they will reach some higher state of being, detached from the very ordinary and simple moments of life. Both groups cause the same. They increase the distance between themselves and illusory sense of self they believe they are. This gap can become such big that they even forget themselves for good. The lack of acceptance, the lack of capacity to stay ourselves no matter what we feel or think, is the main cause that keeps us away from our being. Accepting our bodies and minds as they are, treating them with love and understanding, is loving ourselves. This body and mind are our closest experiences. If we are unable to surrender with no fight into this body and mind experience, we still create the separate sense of self. First, it is very important to be in peace with this body and mind experience. If our self-love becomes strong enough, which is the same as the ultimate surrender, we do not fight, we stop creating and feeding the illusory sense of self. We bridge the distance and we finally accept ourselves. Petting ourselves, we accept life. Losing the separateness within the life itself is living in reality. Someone calls it enlightenment. I hear all of you saying it is easy to tell but hard to do. And you are absolutely right. Surrender is not doing nothing, it is the total openness. To be able to remain open and vulnerable does not come instantly. But we can always start to make the first step. We can stop running away instead of staying where we are. Running away from ourselves is just the illusion. Realizing this truth, you can remove the main cause keeping you on the treadmill. Same on that treadmill, you are not moving anywhere. There are some very excellent answers already, but I thought I'd add my own perspective to the mix. First, I believe everyone is already enlightened. The thing that makes people not enlightened is resistance to being enlightened. Society builds some of that into us, because a truly enlightened society wouldn't need leaders. We'd only need people to help direct resources, managers. And that makes people who want to be leaders very nervous. But it also implies that they're not true leaders to begin with, or they'd encourage this and simply transition to an easier life as a manager of resources. Second, the resistance to enlightenment is based in the ideas of self-importance, self-indulgence, and control over others. These three are all based in the idea that the universe isn't singular, that we aren't all merely parts of the universe as a whole, or God, if you believe that way, expressing as unique perspectives. When we begin believing that our own perspectives are more important than the connection to each other and the universe, or God, then we lose sight of what it means to have enlightenment in the first place. Third, enlightenment is a process, not a goal. If your goal is enlightenment, your ego will find ways to defeat it. If enlightenment is merely a process, the ego has a harder time defeating it, because then you have the leeway to be imperfect and to grow from the experiences you have, and to accept that being enlightened isn't something you achieve, it's merely something you're working on. The more you progress, the more you tend to have enlightened times, until it becomes your default. And then people start noticing that you know stuff. Of course, the ego immediately puffs up, and you lose enlightenment altogether if you haven't overcome it. But it's at least possible to get there from here. The cause of not getting enlightened is looking for the light switch. There's a wonderful Zen story. A seeker visits an old master in his remote hermitage. The master makes him tea and chats with him a bit. His serene presence makes the seeker wonder whether all the spiritual books he's read really know what they're talking about. Night falls, and it's time to go. The master gives him a candle to light his way, since the night is very dark. As he is handing him the candle, the master suddenly blows it out. I literally cannot imagine a more powerful teaching than this. The candle represents the objectified truth the seeker was hoping to get from the master. Blowing the candle out represents the only thing that can really be given, permission to return to one's original nature. Incidentally, Ramana Maharshi gave a similar teaching. Ganapati Muni was a renowned mantra meditation master, but he had not found peace. He approached Ramana Maharshi and explained his predicament. Sri Ramana said, "There is nothing wrong with your practice. Just observe the silence between repetitions. This silence is the source. Simply notice that what you are looking for pre-exists your search for it, and you will be free.